Hello everybody, Splash here, and today we're building a starter house in HYTALE. I have tested everything in exploration mode and used nothing but materials you can find at the get-go. First of all though, we are going to give some of the mechanics a quick look because the build I have planned is based on how crafting works. For this experiment I have built a thing, and as you can see my inventory is completely empty, so, well, almost. I have some tools and some bears because I am still in exploration mode at the moment. We're plunking down a workbench here, just 2 blocks away from the chest to begin with. And here I have all kinds of things useful for early gaming crafting. Now, let's interact with the workbench. Yup, we can craft straight out of the chest. Now let's see how far away from the workbench the chest can be for this to still work. I'm going to move the workbench 1 block at a time until we can't craft out of the chest anymore. There we go. So 1 block back and we are as far away from the chest as we can be. Let's count how many blocks that is. Alright, the workbench can't be further away from the chests than 14 blocks. It has to be standing on the 14th block even. I might have built this tower a bit too short. Let's see. We'll start at 3 blocks up, like this. And yeah, it seems to work. I did build 4 platforms to begin with, so let's see if the 3rd level works as well. Nope. Okay, so that's 8 blocks up from the chest. Let's add 1 layer at a time from the 2nd level and see how far we get. 2nd level works. Let's remove the bench and add 1 level of blocks. That works fine too. Let's do 1 more. And that didn't work. So this, the 7th block up from the chest, it is the distance where it stops working. So let's move it down 1 block. Six blocks up from the top of the chest. Let's keep that in mind as we move over to a creative world instead. I decided to make a hillside split level house, since you'll have easy access to both crafting and materials that way. Start off by finding yourself a nice hillside like this one. You'll be digging 5 blocks down, so make sure you have enough of a slope for that. So, from the entry level at the top of the hill, you'll need to dig 5 blocks deep, lean out a square of 10 times 10 blocks, and make sure you can access your future basement from the bottom of the slope. The basement level is built solely with different kinds of stone materials you can make in your builder's bench as soon as you have mined ordinary stone on the surface. Inside the walls, we're going to build a frame of this polished looking block. The mossy blocks are a bit harder to find, so save them for where you can actually see them, but make sure to mix different kinds of blocks to get an interesting texture. Cover the rest of the basement floor with cobblestone. Now we just need to build a wall all around this floor that we made and mix the materials a bit and make sure the wall reaches up to entry level. For a nice tall door to the basement, leave the entrance open until you reach the last row of blocks. 1 more row of stone before it's time to build with wood. This time we're using these ornate blocks. For the floor here, I wanted to make another frame with these decorative polish blocks, and as I was building I thought to myself, why not use a slab here since it would save on materials? Not a good idea for this row right here. Neither workbenches nor chests seem to enjoy these blocks at all, and I can't figure out why. I changed this frame later, as you can see here. Build full blocks around the room, then use slabs for the rest. Out here, I'm adding a path and some grassy ground. You can make the grass in the farmer's workbench. This is one of the best things about building in this game. You can flip the slabs around. All these half blocks, they're called slabs in Minecraft, sorry for using the wrong word. Anyway, this is how we're building these sort of decorative pillars on 3 of 4 sides of the house. On the entry level, we're going to add the same blocks as we used on the top level of the stone wall instead. Here, we're making a small landing and some stairs. Before we build the actual walls, let's raise these pillars made of birch. I started with 4 blocks tall, but I will add one more later. Inside of the pillars, we're adding the actual walls, and there are a couple of different ones you can make. I'm using oak planks of different kinds, and you can make them in the builder's bench. Most of the wall is hiding behind these pillars because we're going to add windows in the openings a bit later. One row above where the birch pillar ends, we will add the last row of hardwood blocks, and I like these decorative ones, so I wanted to use them. And here's the final row of that birch pillar. To have the same block lying down, tap R until you have the direction you want. Build a row of these on top of the pillars, but leave out the corners. That, add another row of the hardwood wall as well. In the corners, place these decorative birchwood blocks. And yeah, I am in creative mode, so I want to fly, guys. Time for the windows. We're using the birch fence pieces for this, which you can make in the builder's bench. Above the fence pieces, we use upside down stairs for a nice finish. Under the windows on the outside of the house, we use the hardwood platforms to make a little place for potted plants or something later, but also because it gives a bit of depth to the texture on the outside. Time for the doors. I used oak for all the doors. The windows above them are also built with hardwood. I like the contrast of colors we get when we add these different materials. The balcony on the middle floor is just a couple of slabs and 2 birchwood gates. Time to make room for a ladder. Pick which corner you prefer, make a hole from the basement and prepare for the ladder all the way up to the top floor. The ladders can be a bit fidgety against the fenced windows, so tap R until they snap into place. I want light to reflect through the room, so we will need a white ceiling. Make a border with upside down stairs, then fill the rest in with birch slabs. I thought the corners looked a little bit weird, so I decided to add a nice carved birch piece there instead, and as before, you can make them in the builder's workbench. Time for the upper floor. You do, of course, pick the build blocks you prefer, but I want this with a border done by the floor. Up next, finish the pillars on the outer walls. Between them, on the hardwood blocks, we're building more windows just like before. Between the windows, we're continuing the walls with hardwood blocks. Over the windows, we use the upside down stairs again. And now it's time for the roof. We are using birch wood for this and starting off with the smaller blocks on the edges. Tap R to change the directions, especially over the windows. The next row is built with a steeper angled roof, and for a nice edge, use the upside down stairs again. Do the same thing with the stairs for the nice edge again, then return to the smaller roof pieces. This time around, go all the way around the entire house. But first, let's finish this wall here and add some details under the roof. Add even more hardwood for the walls above the windows. For some depth in the ceiling, use upside down stairs and slabs for the next row of roof pieces. Inside, we just copy what we did before, adding depth with stairs and slabs while also creating support for the roof. We will repeat the same procedure once more, and then it's time for the finishing touches. We will use the flat roof pieces for the last layer. Done! Now it's time to fill this place up with all the loot! Your workbenches on the entry level of the house can now reach all the chests, while the smithy in the basement is restricted to the chests on the same floor, plus the first row of chests on the second floor. Keep that in mind when you plan your storage. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed, please drop a like, maybe even subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye!